People, how are you guys doing today? It's your girl Miriam, and I'm excited to bring today's topic. Today, I'll be talking about 5 ways to improve our self control and the benefits of having self control. But before I proceed, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Miriam. I am a wife, a mom, a student, an entrepreneur, and of course, a fashion designer and a YouTuber. Yes, I started this one as a give back series as a token of my own appreciation to all of my 500 subscribers. And now I have more than 1,000 subscribers and I'm fully monetized on YouTube. So today we are discussing the benefits of, 5 ways to improve our self control and the benefits of having self control. But before I proceed, let me define what self control is. So, self-control is the ability to control oneself and emotions and desires or the expression of them in our behavior, especially in difficult situations. That is exactly where I'm going. What do you do when you find yourself in difficult situations? Do you just give in to temptations, or do you follow, through? Do you do the right things, or you just, lose your self-control in the process? Yes, so today I'll be highlighting 5 ways to improve our self-control. Yes, and number one is removing temptation. Yes, when you're faced with difficult situations where you're like, what do I do here? Or you're at a crossroad. Let's imagine that you have a goal to reach. Maybe like you want to lose, you want to shed some weight, and you have promised yourself, oh, I'm going to stay off pizza, I'm going to stay off fatty foods and all that. I'm going to go, I'll go strictly on, healthy foods and all that. And then you see pizza and you're like, I need to take this thing. It means you lack self-control at that point. So what you can actually do is you tell yourself, hey, this thing cannot control me, honestly. And the point, you begin to control the situations, and situations no longer control you. You have won. Yes, you're already winning. That's the truth. So you need to think about the side effects of lacking self-control. Hi, Afro Unicorn. Hi, April. I see you, sis. Thank you for joining. So you need to ask yourself, what are the things that you stand to lose if you lose your self-control? So you ask yourself, is it really worth it? And then you say, oh, okay. What are the things? Try following through to your dreams, your goals, and see if something will happen. You will not die. If you don't take that pizza, you won't die. If you don't take that, that nap, you won't die. Because honestly, if you lack self-control, you're already twice defeated in the race of life. Because if you watch all the successful people that we look up to today, they have self-control, they have built their resilience, they are disciplined, and that's why they are able to achieve all of their goals. There are so many people that come up with different goals every year, and they still don't meet those goals. So because they lack self-control, they are unable to let go of those things that are hindering them from progress or from being successful. Another thing that you can do to improve your self-control is to measure your progress. Try that thing. That's one thing that you've been losing your self-control over for a long time. Try to stay off it and see the improvement. Just measure your progress from that point and the point where you used to lack self-control, and you'll be more encouraged. You'll be motivated that, oh, okay, if I can do this thing, then I can actually do without it. You know what I mean? So, and that brings me to when I started my YouTube channel, and I had the goal of getting monetized in 6 months or less. So what I did at that time was that I had my goal written down in front of me. It was right here in my office, and I always look like I'm focused on my goals, on achieving those goals every day, and I pursue it back to back. I don't care what happens. All that matters to me at that point is to meet my goals. Just to yourself, thank you so much for joining us today. Okay, so at that time I told myself what actually matters to me is to meet my goals. So if it means denying myself of a lot of things, I'll do that. Just to achieve my goals, and then another thing that you need to know, on how to improve your self-control is you learn how to manage stress. Yes, a lot of people actually bow, under pressure. They kind of like give in to the slightest pressure, and really greatness is built, from being able to handle that pressure, from being able to build that resilience. Yes, that's when you build greatness. If you can control yourself, in tough situations, trust me, you have already won. You've succeeded already. So you ask yourself, how do you manage your stress? Yes, you just give in. Some people have been trying to quit smoking for years, for decades, but somehow the thing just keeps controlling them. So what you can do is, you learn how to manage stress in, different situations, and then you tell yourself, look, this thing does not have control over me, and I will not allow this thing to have control over me. You tell yourself, this thing doesn't have control over me. journey and you follow through to your plans, you find out that if you keep to your plans, if you keep to your goals and stick to your plans, you realize that that thing doesn't have control over you after all. Yes, except you give that thing, the power over yourself. So another thing that you need to do is to prioritize things. And the beautiful thing about prioritizing things, your plans, is that you are able to tackle the most important things first. Yes. So a lot of people actually lose it because they have not highlighted those things that are important that they need to do first before the rest of the other things that they have to do or that they can do. So you need to start prioritizing. You tell yourself what are the most important, the top 10 things I need to achieve this week, and then you write it down and make sure that you follow through. Like I said, when I started my YouTube channel, I told myself, hey, this is the goal, and I stayed true. I had to stick true to it. I don't care what happens, even when I'm sick. I go live and I make sure that I drop my videos every Mondays and Wednesdays. Today, for instance, I'm not feeling too well, but I still came live. Like, it is not easy, but it is very important to have that self-control. Why? Because we have our goals. If you have a goal, if you have a plan, if you have that zeal, if you have that that's desire to achieve something, nothing comes between you and your goals. That's the truth. Another beautiful thing is you can surround yourself with like-minded people who are go-getters, people who achieve their dreams, people who don't give excuses, and it will go a long way in also helping you, yes, to tackle your self-control. Because when you share ideas, when you share experiences, and the other person says, oh, I have this experience too, I have this challenge, but I was able to overcome it, you're able to encourage yourself that, oh, okay, this person was able to overcome the same problem I'm having, so it is possible that I can also, do the same thing. So be encouraged. Get yourself in the midst of people who are killing it in the game. You know what I mean? So another beautiful thing that you can do is forgive yourself. Yes, I know sometimes, you can fail. Yes. Sometimes it happens, like that thing that you've been staying away from, you have succeeded to stay away from it for 6 months, and then the 7th month you find yourself doing it. You're like, oh my God. And then before you know, you get drowned in it. No, don't drown yourself in it. Forgive yourself. It's okay to make mistakes, yes. So when that happens, it's a one-off thing. Tell yourself this is not going to happen again, yes. Forgive yourself, and guess what? Move on. Yes, I know you are going to fail, because failing is actually an integral part of life. And forgive yourself and move on, because beating yourself up and worrying yourself is just, it's just wasted energy. So why not just brush it off, like shrug it off and move on? Yes. So please, please try as much as possible not to don't be too hard on yourself. Just get up and move on. So these are the benefits of having self-control. I've observed, from studies, research has shown that people who are better at self-control actually enjoy the activities of, some of us resist, yes, like eating healthy, studying, and exercising. Yes, I remember back, I think about 10 years ago, when I was studying for the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, people used to wonder then, why are you so resilient? Why are you always going to class when nobody's chasing you? Yes, that is where you build the self-control. When nobody's watching, are you doing the right things? When nobody's watching, yes. Do you need to be chased or somebody? You need zero supervision, because you are alone. You are enough all by yourself, So what I do then is I just pick up my books in the morning, I have my bath, and then I go. Then I was still looking for a job, so I'll just pick up my books and I'm off to class every day. Like, I don't need anyone to remind me or anyone to tell me, oh, you need to do this or you need to do that. No, I was okay on my own. And that is where resilience comes in. Before you know it, you have self-control over your time. Yes, over your goals, over your plans, over your desires, your needs, And honestly, when we talk about self-control, it's also one of the reasons why, thank you so much, Keeping Naturals, for joining. When we talk about self-control, it is also part of the reasons why some people cheat, in transactions. When you don't have that self-control to return the money, when maybe somebody overpays you and you're like, oh, I'm sorry, this money is, way over what you're supposed to pay me. And then you refund. It is very, very key, Your integrity is everything. If you lack self-control, then your integrity will be in check, So there's so many situations where I've had, transactions with clients and they overpay me and I'll be like, oh, please. And they've even forgotten about the transaction. And then when I go back to my books, I'm like, hey, excuse me, please send your account details, let me return these funds, and I do that honestly. And really, when you do that, when you refund the money, you have your integrity intact, because it's not your money in the first place. So if you lack self-control, that's when you start to say, oh, how about this money is going to do this for me, it's going to do that X for me, or Y for me, and all that. But once you have self-control, it doesn't even cross your mind. So honestly, when it comes to self-discipline and self-control, you need to really be on guard, and you have to build that resilience over time. Another beautiful thing about having self-control is that people who are good at self-control have learned better habits. Yes, like I explained earlier, when I used to go to class to prepare for my ICANN exams back then, I would be in class from because before then I used to read for about 3 hours, 4 hours. But when I started going to class, I started extending it to 5 hours. I could read for 10 hours. I have built that resilience. I can go for a long time reading and that is why, as at that time, I used to read a book. I read a book for about a week, and then with time I started reading a whole book for 3 days, and then sometimes I read a whole book in a day. Yes, so that is where good habits are formed. Like what I said earlier, people that are good at self-control have learned better habits. Imagine if you're able to read some leadership books, like read a whole leadership book in a day, not even in a week. If you're able to build that resilience, that self-control over time, you'll be able to achieve a lot of things in a short time. Let's assume that you plan to read leadership books, maybe 5 leadership books in a month, and you have cultivated the habit of reading one book in a day. Like you finish the entire book and you consume everything in a day. Trust me, you're going to do you're going to be a guru by the end of the year. So start to practice the habit of having self-control. Yes, tell yourself that this thing is achievable. Tell yourself these goals are achievable. Tell yourself these dreams are achievable, and then go after it. Look, what I do to my goals is I just focus. I just stay focused and I go after my goals like no man's business. Like nothing comes between me and my goals. I don't care. I just go after it and I stick to it. As long as it's not, as long as your health is not affected, or, your health is not coming in between you and your goals, that's fine. Then you can do anything you want to do. But as long as you are healthy, you're okay, you're good, Sorry, excuse me. So another thing I want to say is that some people, by the time you exercise self-control to a very large extent, you begin to experience very fewer temptations. I'm not saying temptations won't come, but it will be so few. Unlike before, if you have zero self-control, you have a lot of temptations. Like I explained earlier, I talked about people who smoke. When you smoke and you've been trying to get rid of smoking for a long time, you're unable to get rid of that smoking. Man, it's just going to be one of the major problems that you have. But if you're able to curb it, like you've been able to stay off smoking for 6 months, it's been your goal, it's been your dream, it's been your desire to quit smoking. If you've been able to do it for 6 months and maybe you fail, you falter in the 7th month, you can still forgive yourself. Like I said, forgive yourself and move on. You are able to still resist it with time. But if you have been unable to resist smoking, like never ever, have you seen people fly, like when they get to the airport and of course they are told you can't smoke in the plane, and you see them panting, especially when you have long hours flight, like 16 hours. I've been on a flight for 16 hours before, and then you see those guys, they're like, I'm about to die, I need to smoke. That is what lack of self-control does to you. If you lack self-control, you'll be unable to control yourself in easy, difficult, tough situations, and you don't want that to happen to you. Another beautiful thing about having self-control is that it helps to create wealth along the line. Yes, because people who lack self-control are unable to keep little goals. They are unable to meet up with small goals. But if you have the goal to achieve something bigger in life, like you're looking at the big picture, meeting your goals and having self-control is something that really need to put into perspective. Let me know if you have any tips for handling your self-control or improving self-control. Just leave it in the comments as well. Let me know. So honestly, when you have self-control, you're already on your way to being successful in life. Yes, and really a lot of people have told themselves this year in 2021 that come 2021 I'm going to start my YouTube channel. By February I'm already blazing, I'm already hot, I'm going to enroll for the master class, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do X and Y. But unfortunately, this is February and they are not doing anything yet. It all boils down to lack of self-control. Yes, so there's nothing in this world that you cannot achieve if you have self-control. Self-control is that first factor, is that first thing really that will help you to be disciplined, to be focused, to persevere, to build resilience. If you lack self-control and you know that you lack self-control, that's even number, that's a good, that's a good point in the first place. As long as you recognize your weaknesses, that, oh, okay, I lack self, then you begin to work to what are you doing about it? What are the steps that you're taking? Consistency. Oh, okay. Okay. So if you are not consistent, or you find yourself, being inconsistent at something, ask yourself, why did you start that thing in the first place? What is your motivation? What's the motivation behind it? Why did you, what were your goals? What were those things that you want to, like, look at the end goal of it? That's what I do all the time. I visualize my success. I visualize my highest point already. From the start, I'm like, oh, I want to be here. I want to be this. I want to be that. And then I begin to work toward. That's what I do. So please, you visualize. Hi, Harry. Thank you for joining. So you visualize yourself first, at that highest point. Let's assume that you plan to become a TV presenter. You begin to see yourself on TV like, oh, imagine yourself, presenting, and maybe you're in school of journalism. You begin to imagine yourself presenting on TV, maybe on CNN or CNBC or MSNBC, and you're like, oh my God, I can't wait to do this, and you're in class, you're thinking, that alone is going to motivate you. You don't just go to bed, and you keep wishing. You can't just be wishing for things. Great people don't get to where they are by wishing. So what you need to do to tell yourself is you visualize yourself, at the highest position. Guess what? My plan, my goal for 2021 is to have 100,000 YouTube subscribers. Yes, so you heard me right. Don't worry about how, but that's 100,000 subscribers. December 2021, by God's grace, I will get it. So it sounds big, it sounds, unimaginable, but trust me, my heart can take it, So, and I know with your help, I will get there definitely. So what I need to do is to have a plan, strategize, and always show up. I need to be consistent. I need to make sure that I put that goal right in front of me, and I have to start working towards it like every single day. So you ask yourself, what's that thing that is keeping me from being consistent? Is it more important than getting to your goal? You ask yourself, what's that thing? Is it sleep? Are you engaging in some kind of slumber? And you ask yourself, is this so important that I can't even get up and do this thing? Yes. So what is that thing that motivates you? Do you have a role model? That's another thing. Do you have a role model that you look up to? Because honestly, if you don't have something that you look up to, you're most likely to derail, or you're most likely not to follow your dreams or follow through, to your goals. So what you need to do is visualize yourself being successful already. Visualize yourself being there already. Yes. And then you begin to work towards it. So that's what works for me. So let me know if that answers your question. Thank you so much for that. That is awesome. Another beautiful thing, that when you have self-control, you're able to replicate success. Yes. When you have self-control, you're able to repeat that thing that helped you to achieve one or two goals in the past. You're able to replicate it in subsequent times. So what do I mean by this? Let's assume that you plan to launch a product, and then you launched a product. It was a successful launch. You are inspired to repeat. Yes, you're welcome. Their services. Thank you. So you are inspired to actually repeat that same thing, all the steps that you took that helped you to have a successful launch. You just want to repeat it and duplicate it. And before you know it, you're already replicating success. Yes, so trust me, there's nothing that you have set your mind to achieve that you cannot achieve. Surround yourself with the right people. Make sure you are watching the right people, you're watching the right videos. Make sure you're watching people that inspire you. Make sure you're subscribed to the right people, the people that will help you to take your dreams to the next level. People who are dreamers, people who are go-getters, people who are believers, people who believe in their dreams, people that are successful even in their thoughts and in their actions. You may not be there today, it may seem far, but trust me, when you are consistent, thank you, Lucy. Trust me, when you are consistent, you will definitely get to your goals. There's nothing in this world that you cannot achieve. Trust me, people like Beyonce did not get to where she is by sleeping. Yes, trust me, she didn't get there by sleeping. We've known her for about 20 years now. So imagine she's been grinding for 20 years. So that is what overnight success actually looks like. It's a grind of decades. Yes, I tell you, and don't wait to be great. Don't wait to be great before you start. So you have to start to be great. Yes, that's my last word for you today. Don't wait to be great to start. You have to start in order to be great. And I hope that with these few points of mine, I've been able to convince you and not confuse you that you can actually improve your self-control and achieve all of your dreams and, make them become a reality. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode. I remain your girl, Chastise Everything, and I hope to see you next week with another powerful and exciting topic. For the benefit of those that missed this session today, I'll be dropping this video on YouTube, so that you can catch it live on YouTube. And please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like, watch, and share, and don't forget to leave your comments as well. Thank you so much, guys. I see you. Thank you, Mr. Femi. God bless you. I'll see you again next week. Bye.